Hello, today we're here on Country Pocket with Stephanie Sammons. The new album is Time and Evolution. Stephanie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. The first song I want to talk about today is Billboard Sign. I feel like there's a lot to unpack with you and your faith on this album. So
Mm.
tell me about your relationship with your faith, especially as it relates to your sexual orientation and progressiveness.
Wow. That's a big question. You're right. The rediscovery process for me with faith, redefining my faith is threaded throughout this album. Um, and in some respects, it was a conscious decision. In other respects, it seemed to keep coming out and in various songs where that wasn't necessarily the intention. But, as a 19-year-old person who realized I was gay at that time and brought up in a Southern Baptist home church, it was pretty scary to have that realization, to have that epiphany. And it was like everything I believed in or was raised to believe in that I thought was true was picked up in a tornado and thrown out into a foreign land or something. It was a very cataclysmic event for me. It just completely shook me at the roots. And I guess that started the journey of figuring out, how do I reconcile my faith? What is my faith? I was told you can't be, God rejects you. You can't be Christian and be gay, and all of the things that were ingrained in my brain. I had to figure all that out, like many people my age who went through this process.
I wound up choosing not faith.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that happens. I really can. And I'm still trying to I'm still in that process of figuring out, what do I believe in, right? Because it's an ongoing journey for me.
I really like Billboard Sign because you had this contrast between a pastor, who drank and cheated and really was not whatsoever a perfect messenger. And then you had the billboard sign, which was, much more right there. These are the words. This is the truth. And presumably the billboard wasn't up to anything, no good in the background.
Right.
So tell me about that contrast between the faith and the gatekeepers of the faith.
Yeah. I mean, the preacher in the song really represents these evangelical preachers that I grew up listening to on the television. Jerry Falwell being the one that I remember the most. And the hypocrisy of what these people were teaching and what their lives were really like behind the scenes. So, I feel like the gatekeepers are still there. It's the Even today, the evangelical Christians have kind of hijacked everything, even Christianity itself, the church, the Bible, the country, and if you don't share their exact worldview or believe exactly how they think, then you're evil and you're going to hell. And to me, that's a message of discrimination, it's preaching hate, and it ultimately leads to death, physical death or death of someone's soul. And so all of that is playing in my mind as I'm writing this song. I wrote this song not long ago. It's the most recent song I've written. Um, but there's that sign in black and white that says Jesus saves, period. And so, okay, does Jesus only save you guys, or does Jesus save me? Does Jesus save uh, someone who is struggling so significantly with their demons that they take their own life? And so that's part of what's going on in my mind, and my argument I'm making to my family in the song, that, you know, does it really matter who is right here? Because I'm your child, you are my parents, we're a family, we're supposed to love each other unconditionally. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I feel like maybe a bit of that message hit me because I am definitely if you go ahead to mend, um I'm definitely the type of person who would rather die on a hill with their convictions than listen to someone who questions, my right to exist.
Mhm.
Like, um, how do you I understand you're asking your family to put aside tremendous convictions to have a relationship with you, and that's one thing I don't necessarily understand, but how do you put aside some of your convictions to try to have a relationship with them?
Um, that's a really good question. I don't put them aside, but I don't want the conflict. I just I I do listen to the other side, globally, and within my immediate family. Um, but I don't feel compelled. Maybe this is why I put it into song. It's my way of expressing my feelings about these things versus just uh having an outright heated conversation or something like that. I don't want that conflict. And believe me, there are members of my family who are really gunning for that, really trying to provoke from time to time, and get me to engage and react. But I just try, for the sake of my family. You said you don't understand, how can you really do that or deal with that? And a lot of people have said that to me, like, oh my gosh, I would have been gone a long time ago. Why do you put up with it? Um, why do you tolerate so much? And it's because I love them. And that's why. That's the main reason. And so I guess part of it is forgiveness and not holding on to the resentment of the terrible things that were said to me, the propaganda that was sent to me in the mail, the letters that were sent to me that were deeply wounding. Um, Somehow I've let go of all that, and I guess you could call it forgiveness. But because of that, I love has prevailed, you know, but it's not perfect.
You asked how on the album, how can we mend?
Hmm.
Is is mending in in this relationship, is mending a process that's primarily done together with your family, or is mending a process that primarily has to go on in your own mind?
Mm. I mean, in the context of the song Mend, I'm not only talking about my family and anyone's familial situation where there is this conflict. I'm talking globally, I'm talking about all people collectively. I've never thought of it that way. That do we just have to mend personally in our own minds and accept what is versus, come together and have this just have this renewed acceptance of, we're all human, we are all flawed, we all make mistakes, but we are all worthy of being here and worthy of the beliefs that we have. Um, does that have to happen, that reconciliation, or will it ever happen? Seems impossible. Seems like it won't. So that's why I also say in the song, how will we ever mend? It's gotten so bad and we've grown so far apart in the sides that we take, that how will we ever mend? I don't know. That's the big question.
Well, it's comforting to know you have just as much of an answer to that question as I do.
Yeah.
Um, I I would ah, it's a scary thought. We're gonna listen to Mend, and we will be right back.